Hi there folks, welcome to the page 20 of the Focus book, Discover, Connect and Achieve. Discover how you work, what focus is, connect to the different parts of yourself, and then achieve a life that suits you, that you curate for yourself based on what makes you thrive. Untangle your confusion and find success. And what we're learning a lot is that success, if we base it on a certain aspect of ourselves, really makes your life a good feeling. So before we do page 20, I'm just going to go through what we've learned so far using the pictures. So in the first chapter, page 6, we learned that everything you do counts. This is because we are important, and because we are important, we need to understand that we're here to do stuff, and what we do creates our life experience, and what we do is what we notice and what we give our attention to, and that is governed by how we are focusing. So if we understand how we focus, we can get to choose what actions we have in a good way so our life experience improves. So there's a little picture. Everything you do counts. I see a ball, I kick it, what happens? Everything you do counts. The next chapter on page 8 was about the different types of focus modes. So here are 4 different focus modes. Some are in the future, some are about the past, some are looking at the virtual world, etc. And these are all different types of focus modes, and the chap there is looking at these and thinking which one is the best one to be in. And endlessly thinking can get confusing. And I think, as I said for this video, is that it's interesting because people are often in this state of being, kind of a thought about this, a thought about that, a thought about something else, and they don't find it confusing because they're so used to it, it's their normal. But actually it is confusing, and once you learn how to just focus on one element of this, you realise all of a sudden, oh my goodness, life isn't confusing, life is actually quite simple, and you really start to relax and become calmer. So there's a picture there showing different types of focus. And then the next chapter on page 10, Are We Like Bees? A brief humorous look at why we as creatures are different to everything else. And we just touch on it really in this chapter. It's just a little introduction, and the main point being is that creatures like bees, they get up and they know what they're doing and they just get on and do it, and they use their common sense to guide them as to what that looks like. So if it's a rainy day, maybe the bee stays in the hive, but if it's a sunny day, maybe the bee goes out and finds a flower. But fundamentally, they know what they're doing all the time. They are motivated all the time to do stuff, whereas we are not, because we are different to creatures, because we can travel within ourselves in different places, to different places. So we have places within ourselves we can visit, whereas animals don't. All very exciting and interesting. So then we examine this a little bit more, and we say, okay, so let's go back to look at focus. So let's go back to the person on the bench. Which one was the best focus? Well, it was when in the present, where in the real world, who, being aware of yourself, and objects of interest, something that you have a personal connection to. And if you're focusing in that way, life can feel like this. No matter what's going on, you are okay, you are resilient, you are calm, and you know what's going on. And this focus book and training is all about understanding how to achieve this, which is actually very simple once you get the hang of it, but it is quite tricky at the same time. And in this chapter we look at why it might be tricky, and we look at sometimes when we are working towards this, sometimes it can be difficult. So this is why we need support, like from a parent or a mentor, support worker, teacher, social worker, etc., to work on this, because it is difficult and it takes a while. But as I said, once you get the hang of it, you know it. You can't unknow it, and it's great fun. It's great fun. It's lovely to live life on your terms in a kind and humble way, knowing that you're here with meaning and purpose. So that's that chapter. And then the next chapter was back to the places that we visit within ourselves. This is the second principle. And the places we visit within ourselves, there are two. And I suggest that your focus is like a taxi that drives you to these different places within yourself. And one place it can drive you to is your mind. And if we go and visit our mind, we start to do lots of mind focused activities, one of which is playing on a computer. Now you can see this because I am in my mind looking at a computer. I'm not actually doing anything. I am sitting on a desk in front of a computer. But within that computer, my mind engages with that computer, and my mind starts to play with it. And by giving it attention, that computer, whatever's going on in it, becomes alive and real. Okay? So whatever we do, whatever we put our focus on, whatever we put our attention onto, becomes alive and real. And in this chapter, we look at what happens when we visit the mind part of ourselves, and we give activities associated with the mind our attention, and we go through things that need to be addressed when that happens. And then we look at the other place we can visit within ourselves, which is who you are. And if we start to visit the who you are aspect of yourself and start to experience life from that place, what happens is that we actually start to be in the being in flow focus state, and we start to do activities that are in line with who we are. And by doing that, we start to build up some resilience, some good feelings, because our world starts to improve, because there's things in it that actually resonate with us and make us feel good. So that's as far as we've got. But these, as I said, these can be bought from us, these pictures, and they're great for a flashcards, like I've just said. And I do suggest when you are teaching your child this, you use these cards at every opportunity, and you can put them on the walls and all sorts, because they really help. They really help. And I honestly, the reason that I was able to write this book in 40 pages was because I worked with my son, Oscar Robinson, who's an artist, and his pictures have made all the difference. So anyway, there we are. So page 20 is Meet Jayne. And Jayne is an example of a young lady in her 20s. And I go through in this chapter that I won't read out now, but I go through two scenarios of her life, two possible life paths for her. One is if she visits her mind and gives attention to what is in her mind, she makes that alive and real, and what career path she chooses then. And the other scenario is if she visits the who you are element of herself, and she starts to connect with things that are in line with who she is, and what career path is created if she takes that decision. So I'll just read the summary, and it says at the end, to summarise, the two parts of your person that you can visit by using your focus are the mind and who you are. The one you visit the most will create your life opportunities and career path. And please remember, there's no right and wrong here. But once you know this, you can then choose. You can choose, okay? You've got freedom to choose rather than just not knowing, and then if you don't know, you can't choose because you don't know what you don't know, kind of thing. So I suggest with your children, your people, you can go through these examples, and then you could talk to them about how that applies to them. What would happen if you focused on your mind? What career path would you fancy? What career path would you fancy if you focused on who you are? Okay, so that's the end of that lesson. So do comment, do let me know if you want any more resources. Take care, see you in the next one.